Today's 4-Minute Friday is inspired from a talk by Tony Robbins about winning the game of life. The poet Rumi said, "Take someone who doesn't keep score, who's not looking to be richer or afraid of losing, who has not the slightest interest even in his own personality. He's free." Today I wanted to talk about the 7 reasons people lose the game of life. Reason number 1, they don't know the purpose of the game. Oftentimes we're going through life and not even realizing what is it that we want out of life. What's our purpose for being here? And sometimes people might say, well, I want to retire, but actually, the statistics for retirement, especially for men, is that usually what people do after they retire is that they die. Statistics show that 3 years after a man retires, he's likely to pass on. And the idea is if you don't know where you're going, then any road will take you there. Reason number 2, we've got tons of rules about how the game is to be played. We've got rules for ourselves. We've got rules for everybody else. And the idea is to relax a little bit. There's an amazing story that Stephen Covey tells about getting on a bus, and he's on the bus and the father and 2 kids walk onto the bus, and the kids are crazy. They're jumping up and down, they're in people's faces, they're messing up other people's newspapers, and Stephen's just looking at the father and he's thinking, what is this guy doing? And so he tries to be patient, he tries to be nice, but eventually he has to just lean over and say something to the guy, and he says, "Excuse me, are those your kids?" And the father turns to Stephen, almost like he got woken up, and he says, "Yeah, I'm so sorry. We just left from the hospital. Their mother just passed away, and I just don't think they know how to take it. And to be honest, neither do I." Things are going on with people that we don't understand and that we don't know. Oftentimes, we never have the full story. The 3rd reason people lose the game of life is that their own rules are in conflict. And how can you play a game like that when the rules are in conflict? We have rules like look before you leap, but we also have he who hesitates is lost. And so we cannot win the game when our own rules are in conflict. Number 7 is that even when you play by the rules, you don't always win. And then when that happens, we say, why even try? And then we start to give up on our own rules, our own principles for the game that we're playing, for our own purpose in life. Reason number 5 is that sometimes you break the rules and then you win. And that really messes with your brain, because then maybe you're like, hey, maybe there's some new rules. Maybe I should stop living this way. Maybe I ought to go out and find a new way to play this game or some new rules. And even though that might give you some short-term sense of pleasure, but it takes you away from your higher purpose and it takes you away from what's most important to you. And I think that this is what gets people more than anything, because the ultimate pleasure in life comes from who you become along the way. Reason number 6 is that you gotta work with other people who also have different rules. In fact, sometimes you live in the same house with them. And number 7 is that people think that that life is a game of life and death. And here's the thing, the game ends the same way for everybody. So don't put too much pressure on yourself or take yourself too seriously. So if you're going to decide to win the game of life, number 1, decide what the purpose of the game is for you, at least for right now. Number 2, have fewer rules. Number 3, make your rules consistent. Make sure they line up with where you want to go and the purpose you want to have. And number 4, give yourself pleasure and reward yourself whenever you do win, even if the world doesn't. Sometimes we do something kind, or we make a nice remark, we do something that really aligns with our worldview. Give yourself a hand, say good job, even when there's no one around to tell you that. And also, number 5, when you screw up, it's okay to feel the pain of that, feel the sadness of that, to acknowledge that you're not being who you are. It's all right to feel the pain and sadness of that so your body can actually process that in a healthy way. Number 6, to know that everybody in life has different rules, and try to find out what other people's rules are before you start to play with them and get upset with them. And number 7, even though you know that life has a purpose, and your life certainly does, but don't take yourself too seriously. It's just like that old quote, why do angels fly? It's because they take themselves lightly. Thank you very much. Have a great day, and remember to live wholeheartedly.